How's it going, everybody? So I actually ran the saw for the first time this past weekend, and I think I put a short up of like the first pull, it wasn't the first pull, it was like the second time I tried, but the first start really, it started when I was holding the throttle max out. Um, Once I let it off or put the choke, started to put the choke off, it died immediately. So I was messing with the tune a whole bunch. I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it right. I don't know if it's because I use thicker lines. That way it's sucking more. I can't imagine. I don't know. I was messing with the tune a whole bunch over the weekend, and I just couldn't get it. And then the next day, I tried to start it up without just using the trigger latch, just to get a little bit of to open the throttle a little bit, not max out like I had doing so. And I was pulling on that thing like crazy, and it would not start. Again, messing with the tune, I just could not get it to fire. I know it has spark. I know it doesn't have an air leak. It's got good compression and maintains it. I think the carburetor's something's up with the carburetor, because when I got the saw, I forgot that when I got the saw, it didn't idle. As I'd had to leave the trigger on. If I tried to let it idle, it would die immediately. And that was when I got the saw, just when I bought it, when I bought it used. So it's either somebody was messing with the tune who had it before and made the tune bad, and I never tuned it to begin with. But that doesn't seem like the case. I think something's up with the car, guys, because I think it's either clogged or it's just been sitting for so long that all the filters are just bad. So it's not getting air and fuel. It's not sending that mixture. It's not doing its job, basically. So I'll be honest, carburetors, I was hoping I wouldn't have to go too deep into the carb build, because there's a lot I have to learn about carburetors in general. I know the basics of what they do, but I'm gonna have to study up for sure on more of the technicalities of them, especially these older ones that don't have the primer bulb. And I'm just used to working on just your typical, out of the box ones nowadays that are pretty easy. So I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna have to do a little studying on this, figure out how it works, how is it sending fuel, and yeah, that's kind of where we're at, guys. So I made a short taking this apart. I had gotten a carb kind of rebuild kit that just included all like the gaskets and filters, so I didn't use that. But that's where I'm going to start. So I'm just going to switch out all the parts that rebuild kit came with into this carburetor and see if that helps, and then still mess with the tune and stuff. But it should have fired more than what it did. It fired. I got it to fire a couple times, and it ran when I had the trigger full out, but I just don't think that the carburetor is working as it should. And again, that's my suspicion. I could be completely wrong. I don't know. So that I just have to mess with this. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be researching and trying to figure out, okay, what's up with these things. I looked online for a replacement carburetor for this saw. I couldn't find one. So I don't know if they're hard to find. Like, I mean, obviously they're old. I couldn't find one like readily available. Just someone selling like one on eBay or something. Again, I'm not going to find these locally. They didn't have this saw locally at all. So if I can't find one, and for whatever reason I can't get this one to work after messing with the tune, and it wasn't like I'm jacking up the tune. Like, I had it about a turn and a half, which is pretty much at least what I'm hearing, like your out of the box kind of settings. I tried at both turn and a half. I tried a half a turn. I tried one. I tried messing with. I did every combination of the low and high jet you could think of, and it would. It would not pull. I primed it. I put a little gas in the piston. It fired, but I just could not. So the carburetor might be a red herring to a larger issue. Guys, I really hope that it's not something with my ignition coil. If it is, I know for a fact I got the right flywheel. The part number matched up to what the factory spec was. It's the same brand as the ignition coil. It has to be correct. But when I was looking at it versus the one that came with my saw, I'm convinced that the magnet was a tiny bit wider. I don't think I'm making it up. But I cannot find the one that came with this saw. I cannot find it. The only one I ever find is the Phelon one. So I don't think that's the issue. I'm not gonna rule that out completely. For right now, I'm gonna go with the assumption that it's the carburetor. So I might need to do just overall rebuild. If I can't get this to work, I'm gonna have to look at other options because I can't find this carb off this saw. So I might either have to kind of retrofit another carburetor into the saw and see if we can get that working. I might try to read online, maybe if somebody's put a newer carburetor into the saw that's more readily available. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research, but this is where we're at. So you saw the short of it firing very briefly and running, but we still got a lot of work apparently. I was really hoping to avoid the carburetor part, but just more things to learn, I guess. So this is where we're at. So this will be the content moving forward, probably around whatever I decide to do with the carburetor. I think what will be really neat, because I already switched all the lines out for everything, will be to put a little more like a newer carb in. I don't think it's the reed valves. The reed valves look fine. They weren't bent at all. I don't think it's again, I have to do a lot of research on these things. So that's where we're at, guys. So if you've ever run into this problem, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, this thing might just be a hard starter. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. So I appreciate everyone. Have a good one.